Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Science. What if some of the most powerful medicines on Earth were never invented, only discovered? Before laboratories, before prescriptions, before modern hospitals, humans were already treating pain, infections, anxiety, and even sleep disorders using leaves, roots, bark, and fungi. And here's what makes it strange. Many of those remedies actually work, not by magic, but by chemistry plants developed millions of years before humans existed. Tonight, you're going to learn how ancient plants quietly manipulate the brain, calm the nervous system, and influence the body in ways that still surprise modern science. Archaeologists once discovered something unusual inside a 60,000-year-old Neanderthal grave. Mixed in the soil around the bones was pollen from plants known today for their healing effects. These were not random flowers blown in by the wind. The types of plants found were ones that can reduce pain, calm the body, or fight infection. This suggests early humans may have buried their dead with medicinal herbs on purpose. But why would they do that? One possibility is that they believed these plants had protective or healing power, even after death. Another possibility is that the person buried there had been treated with those plants while alive. This finding challenges the idea that ancient humans lacked medical knowledge. It shows they may have understood which plants helped the body, long before writing existed. If Neanderthals knew how to use healing herbs, what other medical knowledge have we underestimated in early humans? In parts of Africa, scientists have watched wild chimpanzees do something very specific when they are sick. Instead of eating soft fruit, they search for rough, hairy leaves. They do not chew these leaves. They fold them carefully and swallow them whole. Hours later, the leaves pass through their system, carrying parasites out with them. The surface of these leaves is textured in a way that scrapes the intestines gently, helping remove worms. This behavior is not random. Only sick chimpanzees do it. Healthy ones ignore these plants. Even more interesting, young chimps learn this behavior by watching older ones. This suggests knowledge is passed down. Researchers call this animal self-medication. It raises a serious question. If animals can recognize plants that treat illness without medical books, how much of natural medicine began by humans simply observing the wild? Ancient healers did not have microscopes or chemical tests. They learned by watching nature closely. In some regions, hunters noticed that wounded deer often returned to the same type of tree after being injured. The animals would rub their bodies against its bark. At first, this seemed like random behavior. But over time, people began to see a pattern. The deer that used this bark appeared to heal faster. Curious healers began testing the bark themselves. They crushed it, boiled it, and applied it to wounds. They noticed it reduced swelling and pain. Later analysis showed that certain tree barks contain anti-inflammatory and pain-relieving compounds. This discovery did not come from theory. It came from careful observation of animal behavior. It makes you wonder how many plant medicines were first discovered not in a lab, but in a forest, by simply paying attention. Long before modern pharmacies, people were already using willow bark to reduce pain and fever. Ancient records from different cultures describe boiling the bark in water and drinking the liquid. People noticed it eased headaches and lowered high body temperature. They did not know about salicylic acid, the compound inside willow that reduces inflammation. They only knew it worked. Thousands of years later, scientists isolated this compound and modified it to create aspirin. What is surprising is that ancient healers had identified an effective pain treatment without understanding chemistry. They relied on repeated experience and careful dosing. Too much bark caused stomach upset, so they learned limits through trial and error. This shows that natural medicine was not random guesswork. It was early experimental science. And it raises an important thought. How many modern drugs began as simple pieces of tree bark? In ancient Egypt, pyramid workers were given garlic every day as part of their food supply. This was not added for taste. Records written on papyrus show that garlic was believed to increase strength and reduce sickness. Building pyramids required extreme physical effort under the hot sun. Workers often suffered from infections, fatigue, and weakness. Garlic contains natural sulfur compounds like allicin, which have antimicrobial effects. When crushed, garlic releases these compounds, helping the body fight bacteria. It may also improve blood flow, which can reduce tiredness. Egyptian leaders valued healthy workers because construction depended on manpower. When garlic supplies were reduced, workers reportedly protested. That shows how strongly they believed in its effects. Today, research confirms garlic can support the immune system and heart health. It raises an interesting thought. How did ancient Egyptians recognize its medical value without modern science? A Roman physician once wrote that some plants were more effective when harvested at night. At first, this sounds like superstition, but plants change their chemistry depending on light and temperature. During the day, sunlight drives photosynthesis, which alters sugar and chemical levels inside leaves and flowers. At night, some plants increase production of certain protective compounds. These compounds may include alkaloids or aromatic oils used in medicine. Cooler temperatures can also preserve volatile substances that might evaporate in heat. Ancient doctors did not know about plant chemistry, but they observed results. If a night-harvested herb worked better, they recorded that pattern. Modern plant science now confirms that chemical concentration can shift within a 24-hour cycle. This makes us question how many traditional harvesting rules were based on careful long-term observation, rather than myth. Some early healers believed that plants growing near rivers, lakes, or wetlands were useful for treating problems related to body fluids, such as swelling or urinary trouble. At the time, this belief was based on symbolic thinking. Water plants were linked to the idea of flow and cleansing. However, modern research has found that some of these same plants contain compounds that affect kidney function and urine production. For example, certain marsh plants act as natural diuretics, helping the body remove excess water. This reduces swelling and supports fluid balance. Ancient healers may not have understood kidney physiology, but they noticed results in patients. Over time, patterns formed between plant location and healing effect. What seemed like simple symbolism may have been early environmental classification. It makes you wonder how many traditional beliefs had hidden biological truth behind them. In medieval Europe, hospital gardens were carefully arranged in geometric shapes such as squares, circles, and crosses. This design was not only for beauty. Healers believed that order and symmetry created balance in the body. At that time, illness was often thought to be caused by imbalance. Gardens were filled with herbs used for digestion, wounds, fever, and sleep. Patients could walk through these structured spaces while recovering. Modern research shows that exposure to organized natural environments can reduce stress and lower blood pressure. Symmetry may create a sense of control and safety in the brain. Even today, hospitals use garden spaces to support healing. Medieval builders did not know about cortisol or nervous system responses, but they observed that patients improved in calm, ordered surroundings. This raises a question. Was the garden itself part of the medicine? Archaeologists once uncovered one of the oldest known surgical kits, dating back thousands of years. Inside were sharp metal tools used for cutting and scraping, but next to them were small bundles of dried herbs. This discovery shows that early surgery was not only about physical tools. Healers likely used herbs to reduce pain, stop bleeding, or prevent infection. Some plants have natural antiseptic properties, while others help calm the patient. At that time, there were no chemical disinfectants or modern anesthesia, so herbs were part of the surgical process. The presence of dried plants in the kit suggests they were considered just as important as the blades. This challenges the idea that early surgery was crude and careless. Instead, it shows a mix of mechanical skill and plant knowledge. It makes you wonder how advanced ancient medical practice may have been. Many traditional healers did not test plants on other people first. They often experimented on themselves. This was risky. Some plants can cause strong reactions, including vomiting, dizziness, or even death. By starting with very small amounts, healers tried to observe how the body reacted. If no serious harm occurred, they slowly increased the dose. Over time, they learned safe levels and dangerous limits. This method was based on careful self-observation. It required courage and patience. Some healers became sick during this process, and not all survived their experiments. But this approach created early knowledge about dosage and toxicity. Modern medicine still follows the rule that dose determines safety. The difference is that today, testing happens in controlled labs. It raises a powerful question. How much of early plant knowledge came from personal risk and sacrifice? Plants do not produce chemicals to help humans. They create toxins to protect themselves from insects, animals, and disease. Since plants cannot run away, they defend themselves with chemistry. Some produce bitter compounds to stop animals from eating them. Others release toxins that attack insect nervous systems. These substances are part of plant survival. What is surprising is that some of these same compounds interact with human biology in useful ways. In small doses, a plant toxin might reduce pain or calm inflammation. In larger amounts, it can become harmful. This shows that medicine and poison can be the same substance, depending on quantity. Plants evolved these chemicals millions of years before humans existed. So when we use them as medicine, we are borrowing their defense systems. It makes you think differently about the word natural. Nicotine is a strong example of how plant defense chemicals affect humans. Tobacco plants produce nicotine to kill insects that try to eat their leaves. Nicotine attacks the nervous system of insects, causing paralysis and death. In humans, the same compound stimulates the nervous system instead of shutting it down. It increases heart rate, sharpens attention, and releases dopamine in the brain. This creates a feeling of alertness and reward. The difference in effect comes from how human nerve receptors respond to the chemical. Even small doses can change brain activity quickly. Originally, nicotine was not meant for human use at all. It was a survival tool for the plant. This shows how plant chemistry can have unexpected effects in different species. It raises an interesting question. How many other plant toxins influence the human brain in ways we still do not fully understand? Caffeine is not produced by plants to wake humans up. It exists as a defense chemical. Plants like coffee and tea make caffeine to protect their leaves and seeds from insects. When insects eat parts of these plants, caffeine interferes with their nervous system. In small insects, it can cause paralysis or death. It also tastes bitter, which discourages animals from eating the plant. In humans, caffeine works differently. It blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, which reduces the feeling of tiredness. This creates alertness and improved focus. The same chemical that harms insects stimulates humans. Plants evolved caffeine millions of years ago, long before people started brewing drinks. So every cup of coffee is actually using a plant's defense strategy. It makes you think differently about your morning energy boost. Some plant compounds called alkaloids have a strong effect on the human brain. What makes them unusual is their ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. This barrier protects the brain by blocking many harmful substances in the bloodstream. It acts like a security filter. But certain alkaloids are small and structured in a way that allows them to pass through quickly. Once inside the brain, they can influence mood, pain, or alertness. Morphine from the opium poppy and caffeine from coffee are examples of plant alkaloids that affect brain function. Their structure allows them to interact with nerve receptors directly. This explains why some herbal medicines can act within minutes. The speed of this effect often surprises people. It raises an important question. How did plants evolve chemicals that fit so precisely into human brain systems? When you crush a leaf or tear a herb, you release its scent. That smell is not meant to please humans. It is actually a chemical signal. Plants release these scents as distress signals when they are damaged. These airborne chemicals can warn nearby plants of danger, such as insect attack. In some cases, the scent even attracts insects that prey on the pests eating the plant. This is a form of chemical communication. For humans, these released compounds create aroma and sometimes calming effects. Essential oils come from these same volatile substances. The strong smell of mint, basil, or rosemary appears when plant cells break open. What seems like fragrance is actually part of the plant's defense and warning system. It makes you wonder how many pleasant herbal scents are actually signals of stress in the plant world. Lavender produces a compound called linalool as part of its survival strategy. This chemical helps protect the plant from insects and grazing animals. The scent can repel certain predators and reduce fungal growth. For the plant, it is a shield. For humans, linalool has a calming effect. When inhaled, it interacts with the nervous system and may reduce heart rate and blood pressure. Studies show that lavender aroma can lower stress levels and promote relaxation. This happens because linalool influences neurotransmitters involved in calming responses. The same chemical that defends the plant can gently slow human physiology. Lavender did not evolve to soothe people, yet it fits our biology in a unique way. It raises an interesting thought. How many plant defense chemicals double as signals that calm the human body? Turmeric is well known for its bright yellow color, which comes from a chemical called curcumin. Ancient healers used turmeric to treat wounds, inflammation, and digestive problems. Modern science has discovered why it works. Curcumin interacts with molecules in the body that trigger inflammation. Inflammation is the process behind swelling, pain, and redness. By interfering with these molecules, curcumin can reduce discomfort and support healing. People have used turmeric for thousands of years without knowing its chemical structure. Today, researchers study it to understand how natural compounds can prevent chronic diseases caused by inflammation. The plant did not evolve to help humans, but its defense chemicals happen to interact with human biology in beneficial ways. This makes turmeric one of the clearest examples of how natural medicine combines ancient observation with modern science. It raises a question. How many other brightly colored plants have hidden chemical powers we still do not fully understand? Capsaicin is the compound that gives chili peppers their heat. Interestingly, this chemical works by tricking the nervous system. When capsaicin touches pain receptors in your mouth or skin, it sends a signal that something is burning. Your brain interprets this as pain, even though no tissue is damaged. If you continue exposure, the pain receptors become less responsive and eventually stop firing as much. This is why capsaicin is used in some modern creams to reduce chronic pain. The plant evolved this chemical to prevent insects and animals from eating it. Insects feel a strong burning sensation, which keeps them away. Humans, on the other hand, have learned to enjoy this sensation and can even gain pain relief benefits. It is an example of how plant defense systems can have unexpected effects on humans, turning protection into medicine. Many plant medicines are extremely bitter, and this is not an accident. Bitterness in plants evolved as a warning system to stop animals from eating them. Most poisonous or toxic plants taste bitter, and over time, humans and animals learn to associate this taste with danger. However, humans discovered that small doses of these bitter compounds could have medical benefits. For example, bitter herbs can stimulate digestion, improve liver function, or balance blood sugar. Ancient healers used taste as a guide to identify useful plants. The more bitter the plant, the stronger its effects were often assumed to be. Today, science explains that these bitter compounds interact with specific receptors in the gut and brain. This shows that what started as a warning signal for animals became a tool for human health. It makes you think differently about why bitter flavors exist in nature. Certain mushrooms produce chemicals that are inactive when fresh but activate after drying. Ancient cultures discovered this by trial and error. Mushrooms were harvested, dried, and then used for medicine or ritual purposes. Modern research shows that drying changes the chemical structure of compounds in mushrooms. Enzymes or heat from drying may convert them into active molecules. These active compounds can then affect the immune system, reduce inflammation, or even influence brain function. This explains why fresh mushrooms may not have the same medicinal effect as dried ones. The plant did not evolve this feature for human use, yet humans learned to extract its benefits. Some of the most powerful natural medicines in history came from this process of drying and preparation. It is another example of how careful observation can reveal hidden properties in the natural world. Chamomile is one of the most famous herbs used to calm the mind and help with sleep. Scientists have discovered that chamomile contains compounds that interact with specific receptors in the brain called GABA receptors. These receptors are also the target of many anti-anxiety drugs. When activated, they slow down nerve signals, reducing stress and promoting relaxation. What makes chamomile unique is that it works gently. It does not cause the strong sedation or side effects associated with prescription medications. This explains why drinking chamomile tea before bed often makes people feel calm without feeling drowsy too quickly. Ancient healers did not know about GABA or receptors, but they noticed the relaxing effect of chamomile through repeated use. Modern science confirms what humans observed for thousands of years. It is fascinating to realize that a simple flower can interact with the brain's chemistry so precisely, offering a natural path to calm the nervous system. Valerian root has a very strong, sometimes unpleasant smell, and this is actually a key part of how it works. The odor comes from volatile compounds released from the plant, which are not just for scent, they actively influence the brain. When these compounds enter the body, they interact with neurotransmitters, including GABA, which regulates anxiety and relaxation. This helps slow down the nervous system, making it easier to fall asleep and stay calm. Ancient cultures often used valerian root as a tea or in sleeping pillows. While the smell may seem off-putting at first, it is part of the plant's chemical strategy to produce an effect. Modern research has shown that even small amounts of valerian root can measurably reduce anxiety and improve sleep quality. The plant's natural chemicals were never designed for humans, yet our biology responds in ways that enhance rest and relaxation. This shows how close observation can uncover unexpected natural benefits. Nutmeg is more than a spice. It contains a compound called myristicin, which affects the nervous system. In very high doses, myristicin can cause hallucinations and altered perception. People have known this for centuries, and some ancient cultures used nutmeg in small amounts for ritual or medicinal purposes. When consumed in tiny amounts in cooking, nutmeg is safe and has health benefits, like anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. However, larger amounts are toxic because myristicin interacts with neurotransmitters in the brain in unusual ways. It can cause dizziness, nausea, or even hallucinations if taken excessively. This dual nature is fascinating because the plant evolved these chemicals to protect itself from being eaten by insects or animals. Humans discovered that in controlled doses, the same chemical could have medicinal or mind-altering effects. It highlights how plant defense mechanisms can unexpectedly influence human biology. Blue lotus was widely used in ancient Egypt, not as food but as a mild psychoactive plant. Its flowers contain chemicals that affect the brain, creating a feeling of relaxation and slight euphoria. Ancient Egyptians often used it in ceremonies or as a sleep aid. The plant's compounds interact with neurotransmitters that regulate mood and calmness, though the effect is gentle and not addictive. Blue lotus was often infused in wine or water to release its active chemicals. People noticed that it could reduce anxiety, induce relaxation, and even influence dreams. Modern science has begun to study these compounds and confirms that they interact with the nervous system in subtle ways. What is remarkable is that this effect exists naturally, without synthetic modification. Humans learn to use it carefully, balancing the dose to achieve calming effects without harm. This shows how ancient cultures observed and applied natural medicine for mental and emotional well-being. Some rainforest plants were first discovered because shamans reported unusual effects on dreams. In certain tribes, shamans used these plants in small amounts to enter a state of vivid dreaming or enhanced awareness during sleep. They claimed that the plants revealed messages or helped the mind see visions that were not visible during normal sleep. Modern research shows that these plants contain compounds that interact with neurotransmitters in the brain, affecting the limbic system, which controls emotions and memory. This can explain why dreams feel more vivid or meaningful after consuming the plant. The strange connection between plant chemistry and dreaming led shamans to explore more species, discovering new herbal remedies along the way. While the original users did not understand the biology behind the effects, their observations guided experimentation that later influenced medicine. It is remarkable to consider that some natural medicines were discovered not through tests in a lab, but through experiences in altered states of consciousness. Certain essential oils can have a measurable impact on the brain's activity. Scientists using EEG, which measures electrical activity in the brain, have shown that inhaling essential oils like lavender, peppermint, or eucalyptus changes brainwave patterns within minutes. These changes are associated with relaxation, focus, or alertness, depending on the oil used. The compounds in the oils interact with the olfactory system, which is directly connected to the limbic system, the part of the brain controlling emotion, memory, and behavior. Ancient healers and aromatherapists observed calming or stimulating effects long before EEG machines existed. Their methods of smelling, rubbing, or applying oils were early experiments on the nervous system. Modern technology now confirms that these natural compounds trigger real, measurable responses in the brain. This demonstrates that plants can influence our mental state not just through ingestion, but through scent, a subtle and immediate pathway to the nervous system. The smell of rosemary has been scientifically shown to improve memory recall within minutes. People who inhale rosemary aroma during mental tasks often perform better in remembering information. The active compounds in rosemary, including cineol, interact with the nervous system, increasing alertness and enhancing cognitive performance. Ancient cultures likely observed that rosemary could clear the mind and improve focus, which led to its use in schools, rituals, and daily routines. Researchers today have confirmed that even brief exposure to the scent can increase brain activity in areas related to memory and attention. This demonstrates that a simple plant can have immediate effects on human mental performance. The mechanism is linked to both the chemical composition of the plant and the brain's response to smell, showing that humans are naturally sensitive to certain plant compounds. It is fascinating to realize that our ancestors may have unknowingly been using natural nootropics. In some historical practices, sage was burned in sick rooms because people noticed clearer thinking and calmer behavior afterward. Smoke from burning sage releases volatile compounds that are inhaled into the lungs and reach the brain. These chemicals have been found to influence neurotransmitters that control stress, alertness, and mental clarity. Ancient practitioners observed that patients exposed to sage smoke seemed less agitated, more focused, or easier to care for. They did not know the chemical reasons behind it, but repeated observations led to its regular use. Modern studies show that sage contains compounds that may improve memory, focus, and mood. This is a striking example of how observation and trial led to effective natural remedies long before the science was understood. It makes you reconsider how many everyday herbs have hidden, measurable effects on the brain. Ginkgo trees are one of the most resilient plants on Earth. After the atomic bombing of Hiroshima in 1945, nearly all life in the area was destroyed. Yet several ginkgo trees not only survived, they continued to grow and produce leaves. Scientists today study ginkgo for its remarkable ability to withstand extreme stress. The tree contains antioxidants and protective compounds that help cells survive damage from radiation and oxidative stress. These same compounds are believed to support brain function in humans by protecting neurons from damage and improving blood flow. Ginkgo extracts are now used as natural supplements for memory, focus, and neuroprotection. What is fascinating is that a tree designed to survive environmental hazards millions of years before humans existed has compounds that can protect human brain cells. This shows how studying plant resilience can provide insights into medicine and health, turning ancient survivors into modern tools for protecting the nervous system. Rhizae mushrooms, known in Asia for thousands of years, were once called the mushroom of immortality. Ancient healers believed that consuming rhizae regularly could strengthen the body, improve immunity, and even extend life. Modern research has found that rhizae contains compounds called polysaccharides and triterpenes, which affect the immune system and help the body fight infections and stress. These mushrooms can also influence inflammation, liver health, and overall energy levels. While humans did not understand the biology behind it, their repeated use revealed consistent health benefits. Rhizae grows slowly in forests and was rare, which increased its value and reputation. The combination of long-term observation and careful preparation turned this mushroom into a highly respected natural medicine. It demonstrates that what was once considered mystical or legendary can actually have measurable effects on human health, linking traditional knowledge with modern science. Bitter herbs have a curious effect on the human body even before they are swallowed. When you taste something bitter, The receptors on your tongue send signals to the brain that prepare the digestive system. This leads to increased saliva production, which contains enzymes to begin breaking down food. These early signals also stimulate the stomach and liver to produce digestive juices, improving nutrient absorption and digestion. Ancient healers noticed that bitter plants could help with bloating, sluggish digestion, or low appetite. Modern research explains this as a natural reflex. Bitterness signals potential toxins, prompting the body to prepare for safe processing. What is interesting is that the body reacts before the bitter herb reaches the stomach. This shows how taste alone can trigger complex physiological responses, demonstrating that the effect of plants begins the moment we sense them, not just after ingestion. The human gut produces more serotonin than the brain, which is surprising for many people. Serotonin is a chemical that regulates mood, sleep, and digestion. About 90% of it is made in the intestines, where it helps control how food moves through the digestive tract. The gut uses serotonin to communicate with the nervous system, telling the brain about hunger, fullness, or discomfort. Certain plants and herbs can influence this gut serotonin production. For example, fermented foods, fiber-rich plants, and some herbal compounds help gut cells produce more serotonin. This explains why digestive health is closely linked to mood and sleep. Ancient healers may have noticed that certain foods and herbs improved emotional balance, even if they didn't understand the chemical reason. It is remarkable to think that the majority of a brain chemical is actually created in the body's digestive system, showing how natural medicine can affect both mind and body in unexpected ways. Fermented herbs are an ancient form of natural medicine that work in a surprising way. When herbs are fermented, microbes like bacteria or yeast break down some of the plant's compounds and create new chemicals that were not present in the fresh plant. These new compounds can have different effects on the human body, sometimes stronger or more targeted than the original herb. For example, fermented garlic or ginger has been shown to improve digestion, support the immune system, and reduce inflammation more effectively than fresh versions. Ancient healers likely discovered this by experimenting with storage and preparation methods over time, noticing that preserved or fermented herbs sometimes worked better. Modern science confirms that fermentation transforms chemical structures, unlocking hidden medicinal potential. This process shows that preparation techniques can be as important as the plant itself, revealing that natural medicine is not only about the species of plant, but also about how it is processed. Garlic contains a chemical called allicin, which gives it much of its health benefits. However, this chemical is not present in whole, unbroken garlic. It only forms when the garlic is crushed, chopped, or chewed. Crushing garlic triggers enzymes inside the plant to convert other sulfur compounds into allicin. This compound has strong antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory effects. Ancient healers noticed that crushed garlic was more effective at treating infections and supporting health than whole cloves. Modern studies now confirm these observations, showing that even a few minutes of crushing can maximize its medicinal value. Garlic demonstrates that the way a plant is prepared can change its chemistry and effectiveness. Simply eating whole garlic may provide some nutrients, but crushing it releases its true power. This teaches an important lesson. Natural medicine often depends on preparation, not just the plant itself. Some plant compounds actually become stronger after boiling, which may seem strange at first. Heating can break down larger molecules into smaller, more active forms. For example, certain compounds in ginger and turmeric increase their bioavailability after cooking or boiling in water. This means the body can absorb them more easily, enhancing their effects on inflammation, digestion, or immunity. Ancient healers often prepared decoctions by boiling herbs for long periods, likely noticing that these preparations were more effective than raw plants. Modern science confirms that heat can trigger chemical reactions that improve medicinal properties. However, this effect is specific to certain compounds, which is why boiling works for some herbs but not all. The principle shows that natural medicine is not static. It changes depending on how it is processed, revealing hidden potential in plants that may not be obvious at first glance. Not all plants respond well to heat, and some lose their medicinal potency completely when boiled or cooked. Certain delicate compounds, especially volatile oils in herbs like mint, basil, or chamomile, evaporate quickly at high temperatures. This means that the very chemicals responsible for their calming, stimulating, or antimicrobial effects can be destroyed if heated too long. Ancient healers noticed that overcooked herbs sometimes failed to provide the expected benefits, which led them to use specific preparation methods like steeping or adding herbs at the end of cooking. Modern research explains that chemical breakdown from heat reduces active components, sometimes rendering the plant ineffective. This shows that natural medicine requires understanding how to handle plants correctly, not just which plant to use. The way we prepare, store, or cook herbs can determine whether they heal or lose their power entirely. Peppermint oil is one of the most studied natural remedies for digestive discomfort. When ingested or inhaled, it can relax the smooth muscles of the intestines within minutes. This effect helps relieve cramps, bloating, and discomfort caused by conditions like irritable bowel syndrome. The active compounds in peppermint oil, especially menthol, interact with nerve endings in the digestive tract, signaling the muscles to relax. Ancient healers likely discovered this by observing that chewing peppermint leaves or drinking peppermint tea eased stomach discomfort quickly. Modern studies using medical imaging and motility tests confirm the speed and effectiveness of peppermint oil on the intestines. What is fascinating is that a simple herb can produce measurable, rapid effects inside the body. It shows that natural medicine can act almost immediately on physical systems. Peppermint demonstrates that plants evolved chemicals for defense, yet these same compounds can provide remarkable relief for human digestive issues. Ginger is another herb that directly influences digestion, especially stomach emptying. When consumed, ginger accelerates the movement of food from the stomach into the small intestine, improving digestion and reducing nausea. This effect has been confirmed in clinical studies using imaging techniques that measure stomach motility. Ancient cultures often used ginger to prevent motion sickness, morning sickness, and indigestion, noticing that it helped food pass more smoothly through the digestive system. The active compounds in ginger, including gingerols and shagules, stimulate digestive enzymes and muscles. This explains why ginger tea or ginger-based remedies are effective for bloating or delayed digestion. The plant did not evolve these chemicals to aid humans, yet the body responds predictably. Ginger demonstrates how observing natural effects over generations led to practical, evidence-based medicine long before modern science could explain the mechanisms. Clove oil has long been used for its natural anesthetic and pain-relieving properties. The main active chemical in clove, eugenol, blocks nerve signals that transmit pain to the brain. Ancient dentists and healers often applied crushed cloves or clove oil directly to teeth or gums to reduce pain from cavities or dental procedures. Modern research confirms that eugenol can temporarily numb tissue and reduce discomfort without the need for synthetic chemicals. Clove's effect works quickly and can be applied topically, inhaled, or even added to small amounts of food or drink for mild relief. The plant produces eugenol to protect itself from insects, yet humans discovered that this defense chemical could be used as a safe and effective anesthetic. Clove demonstrates how plants can be a natural source of targeted pain relief. Observing these effects over time allowed humans to use natural compounds in practical, everyday medicine. Certain tree resins were used as antiseptics long before anyone knew about microbes. Ancient civilizations discovered that sticky resins from trees like pine or frankincense could prevent infections in cuts and wounds. These resins contain chemicals with antibacterial and antifungal properties. Applying resin to a wound creates a protective layer while actively killing harmful microorganisms. People may have noticed that injuries treated with resin healed better or faster than untreated ones. Even without understanding germs, ancient healers identified effective ways to prevent infection through observation and trial. Modern studies confirm that tree resins contain compounds like terpenes that inhibit microbial growth. This shows that natural materials provided early solutions to problems that modern medicine only began to understand centuries later. It also highlights the intelligence of traditional practices, which combined careful observation with natural resources to protect human health effectively. Some traditional medical systems believed that roots were most potent in autumn. Healers observed that plants stored nutrients in their roots before winter, which made them richer in medicinal compounds at that time. For example, roots of plants used for energy, digestion, or immunity seemed stronger and more effective when harvested in late fall. Ancient herbalists likely noticed differences in color, taste, or effect depending on when they collected the roots. Modern research confirms that seasonal changes affect the chemical composition of roots. Sugars, antioxidants, and protective compounds often peak before the plant becomes dormant. This explains why roots picked at other times may have weaker effects. By harvesting at the optimal season, traditional healers maximize the benefits for patients. It shows that observation over generations allowed humans to link plant growth cycles with medicinal strength, creating practical guidelines long before laboratory testing existed. Even today, root harvest timing remains important in herbal medicine. Flowers were often harvested at sunrise by ancient healers, and there was a reason behind it. Volatile oils, the compounds responsible for scent, flavor, and many therapeutic effects, are often at their highest concentration early in the morning. During the night, plants continue chemical processes, and dew helps preserve delicate oils. By collecting flowers at sunrise, healers ensured maximum potency for teas, tinctures, and essential oils. Modern chemical analysis confirms that the concentration of active compounds in many flowers decreases later in the day. This explains why morning harvested herbs have stronger aroma and medicinal effect. Ancient observers may not have known the exact chemistry, but they noticed consistency in results when flowers were collected early. This practice demonstrates how timing and careful observation enhanced natural medicine. It shows that even the hour of harvest can influence how effective a plant will be, making simple natural remedies far more powerful. Certain alkaloids in plants, like those in coffee, tea, or medicinal herbs, fluctuate depending on the season. Alkaloids are nitrogen-based chemicals that often affect the nervous system or other parts of the body. Healers noticed that herbs collected in one season were more stimulating, calming, or effective than the same species harvested at a different time. Modern studies confirm that environmental factors, temperature, sunlight, and rainfall, change alkaloid levels. For example, some stimulating compounds increase during hot, dry months, while protective chemicals rise in cooler seasons. This variation explains why traditional harvest schedules were critical for producing reliable medicine. Ancient herbalists learned these patterns through repeated observation, long before chemistry could measure the changes. The fluctuation of alkaloids shows that plants are dynamic chemical factories, adapting to the environment. Humans discovered that these natural cycles could be used to maximize the medicinal effect of herbs, demonstrating the precision of early plant medicine. Farmers and healers noticed another curious pattern. Plants harvested after rainfall often had altered potency. Rain changes soil moisture, nutrient availability, and plant metabolism, which can increase or decrease the concentration of active compounds. For instance, some plants may produce more defensive chemicals to protect against fungal growth after wet conditions, while others dilute their compounds because of excess water. Ancient observers recorded that herbs collected after rain sometimes worked stronger or weaker than expected. Modern science confirms that environmental factors like rainfall directly affect plant chemistry. This explains why careful timing of harvest, even after weather events, was considered essential in traditional medicine. Farmers learned that plants are responsive organisms, and their potency is not fixed. By noting these patterns, humans developed methods to maximize medicinal effects naturally. It highlights how early natural medicine combined observation, experimentation, and environmental awareness to achieve consistent results. In some traditional practices, herbs are still harvested according to the phase of the moon. Ancient healers believed that certain moon phases influenced the potency of plants. For example, roots, leaves, or flowers collected during a full or new moon were thought to contain stronger medicinal compounds. Observations over generations suggested that timing according to the moon improved effectiveness in teas, tinctures, and remedies. Modern science now recognizes that plants respond to environmental cues such as light, temperature, and gravity, which could be subtly affected by lunar cycles. Although the exact chemical link is still being studied, some compounds in plants do fluctuate with light cycles, supporting the idea that moon phase harvesting may have a basis in biology. What is remarkable is that early humans developed these practices purely through observation and experience, without modern instruments. This shows how careful attention to natural rhythms allowed traditional medicine to enhance the power of plants in ways we still explore today. Ancient healers often avoided metal tools when harvesting or preparing certain herbs. They believed that contact with metals, like iron or copper, could cause oxidation that changed the plant's medicinal effects. For example, crushing leaves with a wooden mortar or a stone pestle was thought to preserve the herb's active compounds better than using metal. Modern research shows that some plant compounds, especially volatile oils and delicate alkaloids, can chemically react with metals, reducing effectiveness or altering flavor. While ancient practitioners did not understand the exact chemistry, their careful experimentation led to more consistent results. This practice demonstrates an early awareness that preparation techniques matter as much as the plant itself. The avoidance of metal shows that traditional medicine included practical methods to maintain chemical stability, ensuring that remedies worked as intended. It highlights the precision of observation and the value of simple, low-tech solutions in natural medicine. Dried herbs have much longer shelf life when stored in clay jars compared to wooden containers. Ancient healers discovered this through trial and error. Clay jars provide a stable, airtight environment that protects herbs from moisture, light, and pests. Wood, on the other hand, is porous and can absorb humidity, which promotes mold and reduces the potency of medicinal compounds. The careful choice of storage method helped preserve essential oils, alkaloids, and other active chemicals for months or even years. This allowed healers to keep rare or seasonal herbs available for treatment throughout the year. Modern storage methods, including glass and airtight plastics, are based on the same principle, controlling exposure to air and moisture. The insight that storage affects medicine demonstrates how traditional practices were guided by observation and practicality, not superstition. Ancient people recognized that proper preservation could maintain the effectiveness of natural remedies for longer periods. Smoke from certain plants was used long before germ theory to disinfect rooms and air. Ancient healers noticed that burning herbs like sage, rosemary, or thyme seemed to reduce the spread of sickness in crowded spaces. The smoke contains volatile compounds with antibacterial and antifungal properties, which kill or inhibit microbes in the air. People also observed that patients in rooms exposed to the smoke often recovered more quickly or felt less congested. While they did not understand microorganisms, this method effectively reduced airborne pathogens. Modern research confirms that some plant smoke contains compounds capable of killing bacteria and viruses. This practice demonstrates that empirical observation can produce practical solutions before scientific theory explains why they work. Ancient cultures combined sensory observation with experimentation to improve health. The use of smoke as a disinfectant shows that natural medicine often relied on creative, evidence-based strategies to protect communities, long before laboratories and microscopes existed. In ancient Persia, hospitals often burned resin-based incense to help keep the air clean. Resins like frankincense and myrrh were placed over hot coals, releasing smoke with antiseptic properties. Healers noticed that patients in rooms with burning resin were less likely to develop infections or respiratory problems. While they did not know about bacteria or viruses, the smoke worked as a natural disinfectant. The resin contains compounds that inhibit microbial growth, creating a safer environment for both patients and caregivers. Burning resin also had a calming effect, reducing stress and promoting recovery. This practice demonstrates how observation and experimentation led to effective preventive measures long before germ theory existed. It highlights that natural medicine was not only about treating illness, but also preventing it. Ancient Persians understood the connection between environment, health, and plants, turning resin into a powerful tool for protecting patients in hospitals. In some cultures, healers fasted before preparing medicines. They believed that fasting cleared the mind and allowed them to connect more closely with the plant's spirit or medicinal energy. Fasting may have also affected the healer's senses, making them more sensitive to smell, taste, or subtle changes in the plant. Some healers claim that medicines prepared after fasting were more potent or effective. While the spiritual aspect cannot be measured scientifically, there could be physiological benefits. Fasting can heighten focus, improve decision-making, and reduce distractions, which may help in precise preparation of herbs. Ancient practices show that preparation was as important as the plant itself. Careful attention, ritual, and observation were combined to maximize the effectiveness of natural medicine. This reminds us that traditional medicine often integrated mental, physical, and environmental factors to produce consistent results from plant remedies. Hemlock is a deadly plant that looks surprisingly similar to edible parsley. Its leaves, stems, and general appearance can easily be mistaken for common herbs, which has caused accidental poisonings throughout history. Ancient healers and foragers learned to distinguish it carefully through subtle differences, such as smell, leaf shape, and stem texture. Hemlock contains toxic alkaloids that affect the nervous system, and even small amounts can be fatal. Despite its danger, studying hemlock taught humans about the powerful effects of plant chemicals on the body. Early experimentation with careful observation helped identify safe versus harmful plants, forming the foundation of herbal knowledge. Today, the story of hemlock reminds us how closely medicine and danger can exist in nature. It also highlights the importance of training, careful identification, and respect for natural compounds when using plants for healing. Nature's warning signs often disguise both opportunity and risk. Foxglove is a striking plant that contains a chemical called digitalis. Digitalis affects the heart by increasing the strength and efficiency of its contractions. Ancient healers noticed that foxglove leaves could help people with heart weakness or fluid retention, even though they did not know how it worked. Modern medicine now uses digitalis derivatives in controlled doses to treat certain heart conditions safely. The plant produces this chemical as a defense mechanism to deter herbivores, yet humans discovered its precise medical use. The difference between a healing dose and a dangerous dose is very small, which makes preparation and measurement crucial. Foxglove illustrates how plants evolved protective chemicals that can be repurposed as powerful medicine. Early observers relied on careful trial, record keeping, and gradual learning to unlock its potential. It shows how natural medicine can turn a toxic plant into a life-saving treatment when understood correctly. Belladonna, also called deadly nightshade, has a long and unusual history. One of its surprising uses was cosmetic. Women in Renaissance Italy applied belladonna drops to their eyes to dilate their pupils, which was considered attractive. The plant contains alkaloids like atropine that relax muscles in the eye, causing the pupils to enlarge. This effect is powerful, but belladonna is also toxic if ingested in large amounts, affecting the heart and nervous system. Ancient people did not fully understand the risks, yet they observed its visible effects and used it carefully for cosmetic or medicinal purposes. In medicine, small doses of belladonna were later used to relieve muscle spasms or digestive cramps. The plant demonstrates how powerful chemicals evolved for defense in nature can be repurposed for human use, even for non-medical purposes. Belladonna shows the thin line between natural beauty, medicine, and danger, highlighting the need for careful knowledge when using potent plants. The opium poppy produces a milky latex that contains morphine, one of the most powerful natural painkillers known. Ancient cultures discovered that drying and extracting the latex from poppy seed pods produced a substance that could relieve severe pain and induce sleep. Morphine interacts directly with the brain and spinal cord, blocking pain signals and producing a calming effect. While it is highly effective, opium is also addictive and can be dangerous if misused. The poppy evolved morphine and other alkaloids to protect itself from being eaten by insects and animals. Humans, however, learned to harness these chemicals for healing. The discovery of opium demonstrates how plant defense mechanisms can be transformed into life-saving medicine. Ancient healers relied on careful dosing and observation to reduce risks, creating early pharmacology. It is remarkable that a plant designed for self-protection became a cornerstone of pain relief in medicine. Some mushrooms are extremely dangerous because they are nearly identical in appearance to edible species. For example, certain toxic mushrooms share size, color, or shape with common edible varieties, making identification tricky even for experienced foragers. Consuming the wrong mushroom can result in severe poisoning or death. This danger taught ancient humans the importance of careful observation, detailed knowledge, and sometimes trial and error in using natural foods and medicines. Toxic mushrooms produce compounds like amatoxins or muscarine to defend themselves from animals, yet humans discovered patterns of use and avoidance. Learning which mushrooms are safe required generations of observation and oral knowledge. Modern science confirms that a single misidentification can be fatal. These mushrooms illustrate how nature creates potent chemicals to protect plants and fungi, and how humans learn to navigate these dangers. It emphasizes that natural medicine is not only about benefit, but also about understanding risk. Aristolochia is a plant that was used traditionally in many cultures to treat infections, snake bites, and other ailments. Ancient healers valued it for its apparent effectiveness, often preparing teas or poultices from roots or leaves. However, modern research has shown that Aristolochia contains compounds called aristolochic acids, which are toxic to the kidneys and can cause permanent damage or cancer. This plant demonstrates that even long-used traditional remedies can have hidden dangers. The toxicity evolved as a natural defense against insects and animals. Humans, observing its immediate effects, sometimes ignored long-term harm. Aristolochia highlights the need for careful study and testing of plant medicines. It teaches that not all natural remedies are inherently safe, and that observation alone may not reveal delayed toxicity. This dual nature, healing potential and hidden danger, shows how complex and mysterious natural medicine can be, combining ancient knowledge with the need for scientific verification. Natural remedies are often assumed to be completely safe, but this is not always true. The dosage of a plant or herb is what determines whether it heals or harms. For example, small amounts of belladonna or foxglove can be medicinal, but larger amounts become toxic or even deadly. Similarly, herbs like nutmeg or comfrey can be beneficial in tiny doses but dangerous if overused. Ancient healers understood this through careful observation, learning how much of a plant was effective without causing harm. Modern pharmacology confirms that all chemicals, natural or synthetic, have a threshold between benefit and toxicity. This principle shows why labeling something natural does not automatically make it safe. Plants evolved defense chemicals to protect themselves from predators, and humans are sometimes sensitive to those same compounds. Understanding dosage and preparation is critical in natural medicine. It is a reminder that even nature's gifts must be treated with knowledge and respect to achieve healing rather than harm. Certain herbs can interfere with prescription medications in surprising ways. For instance, St. John's wort, often used for mild depression, can speed up liver metabolism, causing some drugs to be broken down too quickly and lose effectiveness. Conversely, other herbs may slow metabolism, increasing drug levels to dangerous amounts. Ancient healers could not have predicted these interactions, but modern medicine has discovered that even familiar plants can alter how drugs work in the body. The active compounds in herbs can affect enzymes, receptors, or absorption, sometimes causing unexpected side effects. This shows that natural medicine is not isolated from modern treatments. People often assume herbal remedies are harmless, but combining them with prescriptions requires knowledge and caution. These interactions reveal the complexity of how plant chemicals interact with human physiology. They remind us that natural medicine, while powerful, must be used thoughtfully, especially alongside modern pharmaceuticals. Grapefruit is a common fruit that has a surprising effect on the liver's ability to process drugs. It contains compounds called furanocoumarins, which inhibit certain liver enzymes responsible for breaking down many medications. As a result, drugs that would normally be metabolized quickly stay longer in the bloodstream, sometimes reaching toxic levels. Ancient cultures did not know about enzymes, yet today scientists recognize that grapefruit can dangerously alter the effectiveness of medicines like statins, blood pressure drugs, and anti-anxiety medications. Even a small amount can have a significant effect. This shows that natural foods, not just concentrated herbal remedies, can interact with human biochemistry in powerful ways. The grapefruit example highlights that what seems harmless and healthy can have unexpected consequences when combined with other treatments. It demonstrates that the boundary between food, natural medicine, and pharmacology is surprisingly thin, demanding awareness and care. Even something as essential as water can be toxic if consumed in extreme amounts. Water is vital for life, but drinking too much too quickly can overwhelm the kidneys, dilute electrolytes in the blood, and cause a dangerous condition called water intoxication or hyponatremia. Symptoms can include nausea, confusion, seizures, and in severe cases, death. Ancient healers observed that moderation was key in all aspects of health, including water intake. This shows that even the simplest natural substances, essential to life, have limits. Plants and medicines work in a similar way. Their compounds can heal or harm depending on how much is used. It is a reminder that in natural medicine, knowledge, timing, and dosage are critical. The principle that too much of a good thing can be dangerous applies universally, whether dealing with water, herbs, or potent plant extracts. The soil in which a plant grows plays a surprising role in the medicinal compounds it produces. Tiny bacteria living in the soil interact with plant roots, helping the plant absorb nutrients and triggering chemical reactions that produce healing compounds. For example, some herbs may produce more antioxidants or alkaloids when grown in nutrient-rich, microbially active soil. Ancient farmers and healers may not have understood bacteria, but they noticed that plants from certain fields were stronger or more effective than others. Modern research confirms that soil microbiomes influence flavor, aroma, and potency. This means that two plants of the same species can have very different effects depending on where they were grown. Understanding the connection between soil and plant chemistry highlights the complexity of natural medicine. It shows that healing power comes not just from the plant itself, but also from the invisible ecosystem around it, emphasizing the interconnectedness of nature and health. Some plants rely on partnerships with fungi, called mycorrhizal associations, to grow strong, potent roots. The fungi attach to plant roots and help absorb water and minerals, while the plant provides sugars to the fungi. This relationship can enhance the production of active medicinal compounds in roots, making herbs more effective. Ancient herbalists may have noticed that plants in certain forest soils or near other fungi were stronger or more reliable for remedies. Without these fungal partners, the same species might grow weak roots with lower chemical content. Modern science confirms that these symbiotic relationships are crucial for plant health and medicinal quality. This shows that plants are not isolated chemical factories. They interact with other organisms to maximize their healing potential. Understanding these hidden relationships helps explain why some wild herbs are far more potent than cultivated versions, revealing the mysterious complexity behind natural medicine. Fermented honey has been used for centuries as a wound dressing, long before modern antiseptics existed. Honey naturally contains sugars that draw water out of bacteria, inhibiting their growth, and certain enzymes in honey produce hydrogen peroxide, which kills microbes. When fermented slightly, honey can produce acids and beneficial bacteria that further enhance its antimicrobial properties. Ancient healers observed that applying honey to cuts, burns, or ulcers prevented infection and promoted faster healing. Modern research confirms that honey can effectively treat wounds, reduce inflammation, and prevent bacterial growth. Its sticky consistency also protects the wound from external contaminants. The use of honey demonstrates how natural substances, when properly prepared, can be powerful tools for health. It also shows that humans discovered effective medicines through careful observation and experimentation, even without knowledge of bacteria or chemistry, relying on the properties that nature had already provided. In medieval Europe, contaminated grains caused mass hallucinations and sickness, revealing the dangerous effects of natural molds. Certain fungi that grow on stored grains produce chemicals called ergot alkaloids. When consumed in bread or porridge, these compounds can constrict blood vessels, affect the nervous system, and cause hallucinations, convulsions, or gangrene. Historical records suggest that outbreaks of ergot poisoning led to mysterious epidemics, sometimes blamed on supernatural causes. Ancient bakers or farmers had no knowledge of fungi or toxins, yet repeated incidents gradually led to caution in storage and preparation. Modern science identifies the responsible compounds and explains their effects on humans. This example highlights that natural substances, even ordinary food, can produce powerful and unexpected biological effects. It demonstrates the fine line between nourishment and poisoning in nature, showing that the chemical complexity of plants and fungi has been a source of both healing and danger throughout history. Propolis is a fascinating substance created by bees using plant resins. Bees collect sticky resins from trees and flowers, then mix them with wax and enzymes from their bodies to produce propolis, which they use to seal and protect their hives. What is remarkable is that this bee glue has strong antimicrobial properties, capable of killing bacteria, fungi, and even some viruses. Ancient healers and cultures discovered that propolis could also be used on human wounds, sores, and infections, long before antibiotics existed. Modern science confirms that propolis contains flavonoids and phenolic acids that inhibit microbial growth and support the immune system. The process shows a unique collaboration between plants and animals. Bees enhance the natural defense chemicals of plants, producing a new medicinal substance. It demonstrates that medicine is not only found in plants, but can also emerge through interactions in nature, revealing the hidden power of ecosystems working together to create effective healing compounds. Many modern antibiotics were originally discovered from soil organisms, revealing that the ground beneath our feet is a treasure trove of natural medicine. Soil contains countless bacteria and fungi that produce chemicals to compete with other microbes for survival. Some of these chemicals happen to be lethal to harmful bacteria, and humans discovered that they could be used to treat infections. Penicillin, for example, comes from a fungus found in soil, and streptomycin was derived from soil bacteria. Ancient farmers and herbalists may have noticed that certain soils or decomposed plants had medicinal effects, though they didn't understand microbes. Modern research confirms that soil is an ongoing source of natural antibiotics, and new compounds continue to be discovered today. This highlights how nature evolved chemical defenses in one species that humans could repurpose for medicine. It also emphasizes the hidden complexity of ecosystems, where microscopic organisms create life-saving compounds humans might never have imagined on their own. Plants growing under stress often produce stronger chemical defenses, making them more potent as medicines. When exposed to drought, extreme sunlight, cold, or insect attacks, plants respond by increasing the production of alkaloids, antioxidants, and other protective compounds. These chemicals help the plant survive the stress, but also have medicinal effects for humans. such as reducing inflammation, fighting bacteria, or improving immune function. Ancient herbalists may have noticed that plants growing in harsher environments had stronger flavors, colors, or effects compared to those in fertile, protected fields. Modern studies confirm that controlled stress, like limited water or sunlight, can boost the concentration of active compounds in herbs. This shows that the environment plays a direct role in the strength and effectiveness of natural medicine. It also reveals that the plant's survival mechanisms can be harnessed by humans, turning environmental adversity into therapeutic advantage. Wild herbs are often more potent than their cultivated counterparts. In the wild, plants face competition, unpredictable weather, pests, and limited nutrients, which trigger the production of stronger chemical defenses. These compounds, while protecting the plant, can enhance their medicinal properties for humans. For example, wild ginseng, thyme, or chamomile often contain higher levels of active ingredients than farmed versions. Ancient healers and foragers learned to select wild plants for remedies, noticing stronger effects or faster healing. Cultivated herbs, grown in controlled, fertile environments, sometimes lack the stress-induced chemicals that make wild plants so powerful. Modern research supports these observations, showing measurable differences in alkaloid, flavonoid, and essential oil concentrations between wild and cultivated specimens. This teaches an important lesson. Nature's challenges can enhance potency, and the most effective remedies may come from untamed environments. It highlights how natural medicine is shaped not only by the species, but also by the conditions in which it grows. Certain roots only become fully medicinal after microbial fermentation. Some traditional remedies involved burying roots in soil, soaking them in water, or storing them with naturally occurring microbes. During this process, bacteria and fungi break down larger molecules in the roots into smaller, more active compounds that the human body can absorb more easily. For example, fermented roots like ginseng or licorice may produce additional antioxidants, anti-inflammatory chemicals, or compounds that improve digestion and immunity. Ancient healers may not have understood microbes, but they noticed that fermented roots often had stronger or longer-lasting effects than fresh ones. Modern science confirms that microbial transformation changes the chemical composition of plants, unlocking hidden therapeutic potential. This demonstrates that natural medicine is not static. It evolves with preparation, environment, and interaction with other organisms. Fermentation transforms ordinary plant material into something far more powerful, revealing a hidden dimension of plant-based healing that relies on living microbes to unlock its true effect. The fresh, earthy smell that fills the air after rain is called petrichor, and it comes from bacteria in the soil producing a compound called geosmin. While it seems like a simple, pleasant scent, geosmin is a chemical released by microbes that signals the presence of moisture in the environment. Plants and humans respond to this smell in interesting ways. Humans often find it relaxing, soothing, or even energizing, which may help improve mood and reduce stress. Ancient people may have associated this scent with fertile soil, healthy crops, or rain that follows drought, linking it subconsciously to well-being. Scientists now know that the smell is caused by a specific bacterial process, yet it affects human behavior and perception in subtle ways. This fact demonstrates that microorganisms in the soil not only shape plant chemistry, but also influence human experience. It shows that natural medicine and environmental cues extend beyond plants, involving unseen microbial life that interacts with humans in mysterious and meaningful ways. The placebo effect is a powerful example of how the mind affects the body. When a person believes they are receiving medicine, even if it is inactive, the brain can release real neurotransmitters like endorphins, dopamine, or serotonin. These chemicals can reduce pain, improve mood, and even influence healing processes. Ancient healers may have noticed that patient confidence or belief in a remedy affected outcomes, even if the plant itself was mild. Modern science confirms that expectation alone can activate the same pathways as actual drugs. The placebo effect reveals that the human nervous system is highly responsive to perception and belief, meaning that the mind can amplify or trigger physiological responses. This shows that healing is not solely about chemical compounds. It is also about how the brain interprets treatment. Understanding this connection helps explain why natural remedies, rituals, and careful attention from healers can enhance effectiveness, combining psychological and biological mechanisms in mysterious ways. Expectations can even change the immune response. Studies have shown that when people believe they are taking an effective remedy, their bodies produce more antibodies, immune cells, or anti-inflammatory molecules. This means that hope and confidence in a treatment can literally influence physical defenses against infection or injury. Ancient healers often emphasized rituals, careful instructions, and mental focus during treatment, which may have amplified the patient's natural healing abilities. Modern science now measures these effects, proving that the brain communicates with the immune system in subtle but measurable ways. This shows that natural medicine is not only about the chemical properties of plants, but also about human perception, psychology, and trust. Belief in healing can make the body respond more efficiently, demonstrating that expectation is a real, measurable factor in recovery. It reveals that the mind and body are deeply intertwined, adding an invisible but powerful layer to natural medicine. Rituals around medicine can have powerful effects on the body even before a remedy is taken. Studies show that performing a ritual, like preparing herbs carefully, chanting, or following specific steps, can lower cortisol, the stress hormone in the body. Reduced cortisol improves immune function, digestion, and overall recovery. Ancient healers may have intuitively understood this, emphasizing careful preparation, repetition, and ceremony during treatment. Patients often felt calmer and more receptive to remedies, which likely enhanced the actual effects of the plants. Modern science confirms that anticipation and structured behavior signal the brain to reduce stress, creating a physiological environment more conducive to healing. This demonstrates that the process of taking medicine is as important as the chemical itself. Rituals prime the body to respond optimally, showing that natural medicine has psychological and biological layers working together. Even before a single herb enters the body, the mind can prepare the system for more effective healing. Touch and smell play a surprising role in how potent medicine feels. The simple act of holding, smelling, or crushing an herb can increase perceived effectiveness and even amplify the body's physiological response. Volatile compounds released during smell stimulate the olfactory nerves, which connect directly to brain regions controlling memory, mood, and autonomic functions. Ancient healers noticed that teas, crushed leaves, or aromatic resins felt stronger when prepared in ways that engaged the senses. Modern research shows that sensory cues can enhance placebo-like effects, improving pain relief, digestion, or calmness. The combination of scent, texture, and visual appeal communicates to the nervous system that a potent medicine is being consumed. This explains why preparation techniques often emphasize grinding, rubbing, or warming herbs before use. Touch and smell are not merely aesthetic. They interact with the brain and body to optimize the response to natural compounds, revealing another hidden layer of healing power in traditional medicine. Repetition strengthens the body's physiological response to medicine. When a remedy is taken regularly over time, the body learns to recognize the compounds, enhancing absorption, metabolism, and effectiveness. Ancient herbalists understood this through trial and observation, recommending repeated doses or multi-day treatments to achieve consistent results. Modern science shows that repeated exposure can condition the nervous system, hormone levels, and immune responses, making the same dosage more effective over time. This principle also applies to rituals and sensory experiences associated with medicine. Repeated patterns reinforce the brain-body connection and amplify the perceived potency. Repetition demonstrates that natural medicine is not instantaneous magic. It often relies on predictable, cumulative effects to produce real healing. By consistently engaging the body and mind, repeated preparation and dosing create a measurable response, showing that natural remedies are both biological and behavioral tools working together to maximize health benefits. The bitter taste of many medicinal herbs activates the vagus nerve, a crucial part of the parasympathetic nervous system. When the vagus nerve is stimulated, heart rate slows, digestion improves, and relaxation increases. This explains why bitter herbs like gentian, dandelion, or wormwood have calming and digestive effects even before they are fully absorbed. Ancient healers may have noticed that bitterness woke up the stomach or eased tension, and they used this property to guide treatment. Modern research confirms that bitter taste receptors send signals through the vagus nerve, directly influencing internal organs. The connection between taste and nervous system shows that herbs work on multiple levels: chemically, physiologically, and neurologically. The bitter flavor is not accidental. It evolved as a warning to animals, but humans discovered it could trigger beneficial internal responses. This demonstrates the hidden intelligence in natural medicine, where sensory experiences and plant chemistry combine to produce measurable, holistic effects on the body. Drinking tea slowly has more than just a calming effect. It actually influences heart rate variability, a measure of how the autonomic nervous system balances stress and relaxation. When herbs or medicinal teas are sipped slowly, the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system, is activated. This reduces heart rate and promotes a steady rhythm, improving digestion, focus, and overall relaxation. Ancient cultures often emphasized slow, mindful consumption of herbal teas, noticing that those who rushed experienced less benefit. Modern research confirms that pacing the intake of warm liquids allows the body to process sensory cues, taste, aroma, and warmth more effectively, which enhances both psychological and physiological responses. Slow sipping encourages mindfulness, reduces stress hormones, and strengthens the body's natural response to the herbs themselves. This demonstrates that the method of consumption can be just as important as the chemical properties of the plants, showing that natural medicine works on multiple levels simultaneously. Warmth from tea, poultices, or heated herbs signals safety to the nervous system. When the body senses gentle warmth, the parasympathetic system is activated, slowing heart rate, lowering stress hormones, and relaxing muscles. Ancient healers often used warm compresses, heated oils, or infused teas, understanding that comfort enhanced healing. Modern neuroscience confirms that warmth triggers the brain to perceive a safe, secure environment, which in turn improves digestion, immune function, and sleep quality. Even subtle warmth, such as holding a warm cup of tea, communicates safety to the body. The calming effect primes the nervous system to respond more effectively to medicinal compounds in herbs. This connection between thermal sensation and physiology shows that natural medicine is not just chemical. It also uses environmental cues and tactile feedback to enhance effectiveness. Warmth is a hidden yet powerful tool that amplifies healing, showing how nature and human perception work together in subtle, measurable ways. Silence enhances the sensory perception of herbs, improving both taste and aroma. When the environment is quiet, the brain can focus more on subtle sensory cues, allowing the smell and flavor of herbs to fully register. Ancient herbalists noticed that remedies prepared and consumed in calm, silent conditions seemed more effective. Modern studies confirm that reduced noise lowers stress, sharpens attention, and improves the brain's processing of smell and taste signals. This heightened awareness can influence how the body reacts to the chemical compounds in herbs, enhancing digestion, relaxation, or pain relief. Silence also reduces distractions that trigger the sympathetic fight or flight system, allowing the parasympathetic system to respond more fully. In this way, the environment becomes part of the medicine. By creating conditions that optimize sensory perception, healers improve the effectiveness of natural remedies, showing that human experience, sound, focus, and attention interacts with plant chemistry to produce more potent healing effects. Darkness naturally increases melatonin release, which promotes sleep and relaxation. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates the body's circadian rhythm, signaling to the brain that it is time to rest. Ancient cultures observed that herbal remedies were often more effective at night, perhaps because darkness enhanced natural hormonal rhythms. Modern science confirms that reduced light exposure allows the pineal gland to produce more melatonin, improving sleep quality and supporting immune function. Herbs used for relaxation or mild sedation, such as chamomile or valerian, can work synergistically with the body's natural nighttime physiology. Darkness not only improves sleep, but also primes the nervous system to respond more fully to calming compounds in herbs. This shows that natural medicine works best when aligned with the body's natural cycles. Light, environment, and timing all interact with chemical properties to maximize healing effects, revealing a hidden layer of sophistication in traditional herbal practices. Aloe vera is more than a soothing gel. It actually helps seal wounds naturally. When applied to a cut, burn, or scrape, the gel forms a thin, protective layer that prevents microbes from entering while keeping the skin moist. This barrier also allows the tissue underneath to heal faster and reduces pain and inflammation. Ancient cultures in Egypt, India, and the Mediterranean used aloe vera on injuries, noting faster recovery compared to untreated wounds. Modern research confirms that aloe contains compounds like polysaccharides and glycoproteins, which promote cell growth and reduce bacterial growth. What makes aloe remarkable is that it combines physical protection with biochemical support. It acts as both a shield and a healing agent. This demonstrates that natural medicine can operate on multiple levels, using simple plant structures to achieve complex physiological effects. Aloe shows how plants evolved solutions for their own survival that humans have learned to repurpose for wound care, turning nature's defense into a life-saving treatment. Some desert plants survive extreme heat by storing medicinal gel inside their leaves or stems. These gels retain water, protect the plant from dehydration, and contain compounds that reduce stress from sunlight and heat. Humans discovered that these gels often have soothing, anti-inflammatory, or healing properties when applied to skin or ingested in small amounts. For example, aloe, cactus, and certain succulents contain polysaccharides, antioxidants, and antimicrobial compounds that help heal burns, wounds, or digestive irritation. Ancient desert dwellers observed these plants' resilience and experimented with their gel, finding remedies that could calm inflammation or provide hydration. The plant's survival strategy becomes a direct benefit for human medicine, showing how adaptations in harsh environments produce potent chemical defenses. Modern pharmacology confirms that these stress-resistant compounds are bioactive and valuable. Desert plants demonstrate that extreme environments can enhance the medicinal properties of herbs, revealing nature's hidden chemistry and the connection between survival mechanisms and healing potential. Adaptogens are a unique class of plants that help regulate the body rather than push it in one direction. Unlike stimulants, which increase energy, or sedatives, which reduce activity, adaptogens balance the body's response to stress. They can calm an overactive system or energize a fatigued one, depending on what the body needs. Plants like rhodiola, holy basil, and schisandra contain compounds that influence hormones, neurotransmitters, and cellular energy pathways. Ancient Chinese and Indian medicine recognized these herbs for their ability to adapt the body to changing conditions, improving resilience and overall well-being. Modern studies confirm that adaptogens modulate cortisol, oxidative stress, and immune function, providing a stabilizing effect on the nervous and endocrine systems. The principle behind adaptogens shows that natural medicine often works subtly, supporting the body's internal balance rather than forcing dramatic changes. It highlights the wisdom of using nature's chemicals to strengthen self-regulation instead of overwhelming the system with artificial stimulants or depressants. Ashwagandha, a well-known adaptogen in Ayurvedic medicine, has been scientifically shown to reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, in measurable ways. Cortisol is released during physical or mental stress, and high levels over time can harm immunity, digestion, sleep, and overall health. Studies demonstrate that regular consumption of ashwagandha root extract can lower cortisol levels, improve sleep, and support relaxation. Ancient practitioners noticed that the herb helped calm anxiety, increase energy, and improve endurance, even without understanding hormones. Modern research confirms that its compounds, including withanolides, interact with the nervous system and endocrine pathways to balance stress responses. This illustrates how a single plant can influence both the mind and body simultaneously. Ashwagandha exemplifies the principle that natural medicine often works gently but effectively, enhancing the body's ability to regulate itself. It also shows that ancient observations can align with modern science, revealing hidden, measurable effects in plants that have been used for centuries. Rhodiola is a remarkable plant that grows in freezing, high-altitude climates where few others survive. Its harsh environment forces it to produce compounds that protect its cells from stress, cold, and UV radiation. When humans consume rhodiola, these compounds, called adaptogens, help the body tolerate stress, increase mental focus, and reduce fatigue. Ancient peoples in Siberia and Scandinavia used it to boost endurance and maintain energy in extreme conditions, long before science explained its effects. Modern research confirms that rhodiola influences cortisol levels, neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and mitochondrial energy production, helping the body respond more efficiently to stress. Its resilience in extreme climates mirrors its effects on humans. Just as it survives harsh conditions, it helps people manage physical and mental challenges. Rhodiola demonstrates how plants adapt to their environment in ways that translate into powerful medicinal properties, revealing nature's hidden ability to turn survival strategies into human healing benefits. Licorice root is naturally sweeter than sugar, yet it comes without refined processing. Its sweetness comes from compounds called glycyrrhizins, which can be 50 times sweeter than regular sugar. Ancient cultures used licorice not only as a flavoring, but also for digestive, respiratory, and anti-inflammatory purposes. Chewing the root or brewing it into teas allowed people to enjoy its taste while benefiting from its medicinal effects. Modern research confirms that licorice can soothe sore throats, calm stomach irritation, and reduce inflammation. However, overconsumption can affect blood pressure due to its impact on sodium and potassium balance. The unique combination of sweetness and bioactive compounds demonstrates how plants often combine sensory appeal with therapeutic properties. Licorice root illustrates that natural medicine is designed to attract humans with flavor while providing real health benefits, showing how evolution can create compounds that are both enjoyable and functional for survival and healing. Certain tree barks contain natural antifungal compounds that protect the tree from infection and decay. For centuries, traditional medicine has used barks from species like cinnamon, willow, and pine to treat fungal infections in humans. These compounds can inhibit the growth of harmful fungi, reduce inflammation, and prevent secondary infections in wounds or skin conditions. Ancient healers noticed that bark extracts or decoctions helped with skin rashes, infections, or sores, long before the mechanisms were understood. Modern science identifies active chemicals like tannins, flavonoids, and essential oils that target fungal cell walls or enzymes. The bark's protective role in the tree mirrors its effect in human medicine, showing how plant defenses can be harnessed for healing. This demonstrates that natural medicine often repurposes survival strategies of plants for human benefit, turning chemical defenses into remedies. It highlights the hidden intelligence in nature, where protective adaptations for one species can directly support another's health. Mushrooms are genetically closer to humans than they are to plants, which makes them fascinating from a medicinal perspective. Unlike plants, mushrooms share similar cellular structures, produce comparable enzymes, and metabolize compounds in ways that are more like animals. This similarity explains why compounds from mushrooms, like beta-glucans, cordyspin, or rhiz polysaccharides, can interact effectively with human immune systems. Ancient cultures in Asia, Europe, and the Americas recognized mushrooms as healing foods and medicinal agents, using them for immune support, longevity, and energy. Modern science confirms that mushrooms' bioactive compounds can regulate immunity, reduce inflammation, and even support nerve and liver health. Their unique genetic makeup allows them to produce chemicals that are both complex and highly compatible with human physiology. Mushrooms demonstrate that not all natural medicine comes from plants. Fungi occupy a unique biological space that bridges the plant-animal divide, offering compounds that are unexpectedly potent and tailored for human health. Some seeds can remain viable for centuries, waiting for the right conditions to sprout. Seeds from ancient plants, like lotus seeds found in China, were discovered to germinate even after over 1,000 years. This incredible longevity is due to protective chemicals in the seed coat and natural antioxidants that preserve DNA and vital tissues. For humans, these seeds are fascinating because they demonstrate the stability and resilience of natural compounds over time. Ancient healers may not have understood the science, but they observed that certain seeds could be stored for years without losing their potency. Today, scientists study long-lived seeds to understand plant survival, genetics, and potential medicinal properties. The fact that seeds can retain viability for centuries also suggests that some medicinal compounds remain stable over long periods, allowing herbal remedies to be effective even after storage. Nature's ability to preserve life in miniature packages shows how survival strategies translate into enduring medicinal potential. Ancient grain varieties contain different phytochemicals than modern hybrid crops, making them nutritionally and medicinally unique. Older grains, such as einkorn, emmer, and spelt, produce compounds like polyphenols, flavonoids, and antioxidants in higher concentrations than many modern wheat hybrids. These chemicals can support digestion, reduce inflammation, and improve immune function. Modern selective breeding often prioritizes yield, size, and disease resistance, which can reduce the concentration of these protective compounds. Ancient farmers may have noticed that older grains produced stronger health effects, though they didn't measure phytochemicals scientifically. Today, research confirms that heirloom grains have unique chemical profiles that can enhance wellness and provide benefits modern varieties sometimes lack. This demonstrates that natural medicine is not only about the species, but also about the specific strain and environmental history. Ancient grains reveal how plant evolution, cultivation, and human selection influence the potency and effectiveness of natural remedies. The human liver recognizes many plant compounds as familiar chemistry, which is why some herbal medicines are processed efficiently and safely. Enzymes in the liver metabolize plant alkaloids, flavonoids, and terpenes, breaking them down into compounds the body can use or excrete. Ancient healers observed that certain herbs were tolerated better than others, providing consistent effects with minimal side effects. Modern pharmacology confirms that humans have evolved to interact with plant-based chemicals over thousands of years, making some compounds easier to absorb and integrate into metabolic pathways. This recognition helps explain why traditional diets and herbal remedies often complement human physiology so well. The liver's ability to process plant compounds also underscores the concept of dosage and preparation. Too little may be ineffective, and too much can overwhelm these natural metabolic pathways. This interplay shows that natural medicine relies not just on chemistry, but on the human body's evolutionary familiarity with plants, making the connection between biology and traditional remedies deeper than it appears. Many modern drugs are refined versions of molecules originally found in plants. For example, aspirin was developed from compounds in willow bark, and paclitaxel, a cancer drug, comes from the Pacific yew tree. Scientists study plant molecules to understand their active chemical structures, then modify them for stability, potency, and safety. Ancient healers unknowingly discovered these molecules through trial and observation, relying on the natural properties of plants for pain relief, infection control, or other therapeutic effects. Modern pharmaceutical refinement often amplifies the effectiveness, reduces side effects, and allows precise dosing that was difficult to achieve with whole plants. This process shows that nature often provides the blueprint for human medicine. Plants evolved these compounds for survival, but humans learned to recognize, extract, and improve them for targeted healing. The transformation from raw plant chemistry to modern drugs demonstrates how natural medicine has influenced centuries of scientific innovation, bridging traditional knowledge with modern therapeutic power. Whole plant extracts work differently than isolated compounds or synthetic drugs, because they contain the full spectrum of chemical constituents, alkaloids, flavonoids, terpenes, and more. They often act more slowly in the body. Instead of creating sudden spikes in effect, whole plant remedies gradually influence multiple pathways at once. For example, a chamomile tea may gently calm nerves, reduce inflammation, and aid digestion simultaneously, while a single purified compound might target only one effect. Ancient healers preferred whole preparations because they noticed more balanced and consistent results over time. Modern science confirms that the synergy of multiple compounds can reduce side effects and improve overall safety. This slower, steadier action helps the body respond naturally without overwhelming its systems. Whole plant medicine demonstrates that subtlety can be just as effective as potency, showing that nature often prioritizes balance and integration rather than rapid, extreme effects, which is why traditional remedies remain relevant even in modern pharmacology. The nervous system often responds to scent before it responds to ingestion. When you smell an herb, volatile compounds interact with olfactory nerves that connect directly to the brain's limbic system, which controls emotions, memory, and physiological responses. Ancient healers observed that smelling certain herbs could calm anxiety, boost alertness, or even reduce nausea before the medicine was eaten. Modern research shows that aroma triggers neurotransmitter release, heart rate changes, and digestive signals almost immediately. This means that the preparation and inhalation of herbal medicine is part of its effect, not just the chemical compounds consumed. Scent acts as a first messenger, priming the body and mind to respond to the remedy. Understanding this explains why teas, incense, and crushed leaves were often used in rituals before ingestion. The nervous system's early reaction to smell demonstrates that natural medicine is multidimensional, engaging sensory pathways to enhance physiological and psychological healing. Natural medicine often supports the body's systems rather than overriding them. Unlike many synthetic drugs that force a single effect, herbs and plant compounds usually work by enhancing existing functions. For example, adaptogens help the nervous system maintain balance, antioxidants support cellular repair, and anti-inflammatory compounds reduce overactive immune responses without shutting them down. Ancient healers noticed that patients treated with natural remedies often improved gradually, with fewer side effects, because the body's own healing mechanisms were being strengthened. Modern science confirms that plant compounds interact with multiple targets, modulating rather than dominating biological pathways. This approach respects the body's internal wisdom, allowing it to respond appropriately to stress, infection, or injury. Natural medicine demonstrates that healing is often about guidance rather than control. By supporting systems instead of forcing results, it reduces the risk of imbalance and shows why traditional remedies have remained effective across centuries and cultures. Chronic stress can block many healing pathways, limiting the effectiveness of both natural and synthetic medicine. When stress is prolonged, the body produces excess cortisol and other stress hormones that suppress immune function, slow tissue repair, and interfere with digestion and hormone balance. Ancient healers understood that anxious, fatigued, or fearful patients often recovered more slowly, even with the best remedies. Modern research confirms that stress alters gene expression, inflammation, and neural signaling, making the body less receptive to treatment. This means that even potent herbs may work more slowly or appear less effective when the patient's nervous system is overwhelmed. Managing stress through relaxation, ritual, or supportive practices enhances the body's ability to respond to natural medicine. It highlights the intimate connection between mind and body, showing that healing is not only about compounds and doses, but also about the state of the internal environment. Without reducing stress, even the strongest remedies may not reach their full potential. Rest significantly amplifies the effectiveness of herbal medicine. When the body is at rest, blood flow increases to key organs, stress hormones decrease, and the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, creating an environment where medicinal compounds can work optimally. Ancient healers often advised patients to lie down, relax, or limit activity after taking remedies, observing that recovery was faster when the body was not under strain. Modern studies confirm that rest improves absorption, metabolism, and distribution of plant compounds, allowing nutrients and active chemicals to reach tissues more efficiently. For example, drinking chamomile or valerian tea before a period of calm rest enhances relaxation and sleep quality. Rest does more than just provide comfort. It actively supports physiological pathways that herbs target, such as immune function, inflammation control, and nerve signaling. This demonstrates that natural medicine works best in harmony with lifestyle and environment, emphasizing that the body's state influences the potency and outcomes of herbal therapies. Darkness enhances the body's natural repair processes. Reduced light triggers the pineal gland to release melatonin, which not only promotes sleep, but also acts as a powerful antioxidant, protecting cells from damage and supporting tissue repair. Ancient herbal practices often recommended taking calming remedies or sedative herbs at night, likely noticing improved recovery in these conditions. Modern science confirms that darkness regulates circadian rhythms, supports hormonal balance, and improves immune function, all of which help the body repair itself. When combined with herbal medicine, such as chamomile, lavender, or valerian, darkness creates an environment where the body's healing mechanisms are maximized. The absence of light signals safety to the nervous system, allowing energy to be directed toward repair rather than alertness. This shows that natural medicine is not just chemical. It relies on timing, environment, and natural physiological rhythms to work most effectively, highlighting the deep integration of human biology and plant-based healing. The body heals most efficiently during deep sleep, known as slow-wave sleep. During this stage, growth hormone is released, immune cells repair tissues, and the nervous system consolidates memory and learning. Ancient cultures often emphasized nighttime herbal rituals or bedtime teas to support this natural recovery process. Modern research confirms that sedative herbs like valerian, chamomile, or passion flower can enhance the quality of deep sleep, improving both physical and mental restoration. Digestion, detoxification, and cell repair are all optimized during this state, making it the ideal window for herbal compounds to act effectively. Sleep also reduces cortisol and inflammation, two factors that often block healing. By aligning natural remedies with deep sleep, humans maximize the benefits of plant medicine. This demonstrates that timing and biology are essential to natural healing, showing that the most profound effects of herbal medicine are experienced when the body is fully rested and naturally focused on repair. The calm that comes from natural medicine is not mystical. It is ancient chemistry interacting with ancient biology. Every herb contains compounds shaped by millions of years of evolution, designed to affect plant and animal physiology. When humans consume these compounds, they interact with neurotransmitters, hormones, and enzymes in predictable ways, reducing stress, inflammation, and discomfort. Ancient healers observed these effects and developed rituals, preparation methods, and usage practices that enhanced them, long before the mechanisms were understood. Modern science now measures how plant chemicals influence the nervous system, immune responses, and metabolism, confirming what traditional knowledge has long suggested. Calmness, relaxation, and healing are thus the result of specific molecules working with human biology that has co-evolved to respond to them. This fact highlights that natural medicine is both science and experience. Plants provide the chemistry, the body provides the biology, and together they produce measurable, reliable effects that have been refined and observed across thousands of years of human history.